be sneaky about some things there too, because as a crew chief, there's a lot of these guys that are going to be starting deep in the field, and they're going to have to come up with something to be able to get up through that field, because this is a really short race. And you know, the other part of this component is Todd, they don't call the tricky triangle tricky for nothing.
No, you know, I call this place a left turn road course, because you got 3 totally different corners, and as a driver, it presents a unique challenge. Sometimes, most of the time, your truck's not handling in some of the corners. You have to make up for what the truck doesn't have. So I loved racing at Pocono.
Yeah, it's certainly one of a kind. No question about that. But some news from earlier this morning. One of those teams who will have to start in the back is the 18 team of Noah Gragson. Noah has been battling a stomach bug for the past few days and fell ill on pit road and was unable to qualify. After receiving medical attention at the track, he was not cleared to start the race today. We have been told that Eric Jones will fill in for Gragson today at Pocono. Jones won the Truck Series championship for Kyle Busch Motorsports in 2015, and he has 7 wins in 41 starts. So here is the challenge for that team. Certainly, they have a fantastic backup in Eric Jones.
Absolutely. You know, and the one thing about Eric, even though he doesn't have a lot of truck experience at Pocono, he's got some cup experience now. You can run a cup car there and run around there and understand it. You get in this truck and it's a lot easier. So I think he's going to pick right up and not have a problem. And I actually think now he might have a chance to win this race today.
You know, like I said, when you talking during the break, that, you know, he and Rudy have got a great, you know, relationship. We know how competitive these KBM trucks are going to be. So it does give him an excellent opportunity. And we touched on at the beginning of the show, some strategy can get that thing up through the field and put him in a position where he could go for the win.
Yeah, for Noah, he will be granted that medical exemption, so his playoff status is unaffected. But let's take a look at what Noah himself had to say by way of Twitter. He said he tried everything he possibly could do to race, but you saw him in the video, guys. He looked bad, he looked sick, and sometimes you just can't do it, Todd.
Well, you know, I've had to race before when you're ill, and it's not fun. I did it at Dover Downs, and one time I had food poisoning, and to go out there and try to do what you're doing, you know, you get in there and you relax, but it's just not fun.
Yeah, certainly not easy, and Noah will not have to do that today. We wish him a speedy recovery. Let's go back and take a look at last week's Eldora Dirt Derby.
Well, the road map says you are in the middle of nowhere, but believe me, you're in the right place. You're at Eldora for the Dirt Derby. Who's going to take home the golden shovel tonight?
Green flag from the starter stand. We are underway at the Eldora Dirt Derby at Eldora Speedway.
Tough race, tough to pass.
And our first caution as the truck is spun over in 1 and 2.
Johnny Sauter spins to bring out the first caution of the evening on lap 9.
Oh, we got him.
Friesen goes around off the front bumper of Chris Windham.
Ben Rhodes coming off turn 4 for the green and white checkers in the stage 1 win.
Now the race leader just tagged the wall, talking about Ben Rhodes got up over the cushion in turn 1, and that truck is off the page.
Yeah, he may have a problem. Chase Briscoe drives by him. Problems for Ben Rhodes.
Matt Crafton ran up beside him and showed his displeasure, but that's just hard racing. Matt certainly didn't expect Dipple to come down so much and just had contact.
He has led for 46 consecutive laps, and Chase Briscoe wins stage 2 of tonight's race.
Seavey continues to stretch it out, working on almost a 4-second lead over second place Stuart Friesen.
A huge pile up on the back straightaway. 3, 4, 5 trucks involved.
White flag is in the air. A half mile to go in the Eldora Dirt Derby.
They're door to door. Infinger trying to squeeze Chase Briscoe to the bottom. Stuart Friesen in the wall off 2, running in the 3rd spot.
Briscoe nudging ahead. Infinger coming, and it's going to be Chase Briscoe. Oh, yeah. He finished 3rd a year ago. This time, he'll climb on top of that truck in victory lane as the winner.
So there you saw a non-playoff contender claim the prize at Eldora. That means, simply put, guys, we got 3 races to go and 3 spots are still available. They're your winners in the yellow. Matt Crafton's the first driver in. Myatt Snyder's the first driver out. So let's take a look at this playoff picture, Todd.
Well, you know, it's what we talked about, the what ifs. What if somebody new wins a race? Well, that's going to put Enfinger, Friesen, and Crafton all on the bubble because they're only 21 points apart. That basically means that they not only have to pay attention to try to win in the race, but they've got to earn points, stage points, get those stage points and make sure that you beat those other guys. They have to race each other to make sure that they get in playoffs because the last 2 years of the playoffs, we've had 2 drivers get in on points. You got to pay attention to points.
No, I agree with you on paying attention to it, but if you pay attention to getting to victory lane, that'll solve all these problems. But to your point, these guys are so close. If they have a bad race, all of a sudden you could be up here feeling like I've got a comfortable lead, and these 2 guys leapfrog you, and they put you on that bubble. I mean, that's exactly what you're talking about. And these guys back here, they're hungry for a win, and on top of that, they can take a chance where nobody else maybe can.
That's it.
All right, so it's unlikely, but it is possible that with 3 races, we could have 3 new winners, and our playoff field could be made up of all winners. So with that, we want to play a little game called Pick 3, guys. If that scenario plays out, who are your 3 winners?
Well, I'm going today with a kid that I don't think anybody thinks can win this race, but I think he can. Todd Gilliland, yesterday, he ran the ARCA race yesterday, started on the outside pole, ran 33 laps before the rain came, and he was fast. And they pitted in that deal, and he had to come from the back. So he learned about drafting. He learned how to set guys up to pass him on this track. It was very valuable experience, and I think he's got a fast truck. There's no doubt. He's a guy to watch today.
Well, I got a guy that's going to be, I think, feeling comfortable because his position, that's Grant Enfinger, got a big lead as far as points, but he goes to victory lane, all of a sudden he locks himself in, takes all the pressure off.
Yep. Going to Michigan, Stuart Friesen. I've talked about Stuart all year long on the 1.5 miles. He's ready to win, and that's the only thing we got close to 1.5 miles. So I think Stuart can get it done. He's learned how to draft these trucks. He knows how to keep the momentum up in the corners. That's what Michigan's all about.
The thing is right now, you sure you're not working for Stuart because you've been talking about it so much? But I've got a different guy. Just a week later, Todd Gilliland, I believe that he can get the job done for sure in a place like Michigan. On all the very valid points as you talked about, even at Pocono today, I think it carries over to next week at Michigan.
What about Bristol, Todd?
Well, I'm going to Bristol. I'm going to pick a guy that's only got 1 race there, but he finished 4th in that race last year. Grant Enfinger, his crew chief, Jeff Hensley, knows the racetrack, been there for years, got a lot of experience. Grant did a great job there, finishing 4th. And this short track racer, I think he can get it done.
All right,
like
one more pick.
Years. I'm going to go with a guy that's got a ton of experience when it comes to Bristol, Matt Crafton. This guy understands the pressure zone. He handles pressure extremely well. He let Eldora get away from him this time around. I look like he was going to punch his ticket when he gets to Bristol.
All right, so we got a couple of agreements there, but one thing we do know for sure is that time is running out with 3 to go. And with only 3 turns, Pocono is definitely one of the most unique tracks on the circuit. Coming up, we ask the drivers, what makes this triangle so tricky?
To get your truck to handle well in all 3 corners is very tough, and you got to approach all 3 corners different as a driver.
And we put our 2-time champ to work answering drivers' questions in the truck garage in this week's Ask the Onion. All this and more when race day returns.
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series comes to Pocono Raceway. Joey Coulter will score his first win here at Pocono Raceway.
The checkered flag's going to go to Blaney at Pocono.
Austin Dillon behind the wheel. He wins the Pocono Mountains 150. Kyle Busch wins today at Pocono.
William Byron does it again, winning at Pocono. This time around, it's the 4 truck driven by Christopher Bell.
8 races have produced 8 different winners. The Pocono Raceway is one of the most unique tracks we go to all year, so we thought we'd break it down for you. Let's start with Turn 1, which is modeled after another unique track that was closed in 1980. So, Todd, you get the long straightaway down to Turn 1.
Yeah, the Cup cars are running about 208 mile an hour, and they let off right about here. Truck, a little different. They let off way down in here at 185 mile an hour. Very little brake. Trying to keep that center of the corner speed up to get down that next straightaway.
Yeah, and the thing is right now, Todd, when you talk about Turn 1, different with the cars, they're going to be downshifting, using a lot of heavy braking so they can get that momentum down that Long Pond straightaway. And I consider one of the tougher parts of this racetrack, which is the tunnel turn. And you've got to keep that left front pinned to the racetrack through that part with a car.
Tunnel turn in a truck is really tough. It will get your attention because a Cup car, they're letting off, maybe touching the brake just a little, trying to not touch it. But a truck, you basically try to run through there wide open. Very little letting off the gas, trying to get down that next straightaway.
Yeah, that part of the racetrack there, again, when you're coming in here to the turn 3, it's not got a lot of banking, but everybody knows if you can't get in that corner and get off of it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, the turn 3 is tough because you got to really make an wide arc in a truck, and you're trying to roll up a little bit, but keep as much throttle as you can because they got that long straightaway to get down and got to use all the horsepower you got.
Yep, and there you see 3 unique turns modeled after 3 legendary speedways. We wanted to see what the drivers had to say about Pocono, so we asked them what makes this triangle so difficult.
We've got a unique track. We've got high speeds, chaotic restarts.
Well, you got to think, this track is designed after 3 different racetracks in each corner. So you got one corner over there that does almost a 180. You got one of those corners that's designed like Indianapolis, and another corner out there that does almost a 180. So you got to plan different ways for each turn.
It's kind of like a triple-edged sword, not even a double-edged sword. I mean, all 3 corners are different, so you can get your truck handling pretty good in one, and then the other 2 corners it doesn't handle very good, so you kind of have to have a happy medium.
It's very aggravating. I mean, that would be a better name for me.
You just have to kind of pick your battles here and just decide, you know, which end you want to give up a little bit to gain over here. I mean, ultimately, you wish you had it great everywhere, but, you know, you kind of have to have a little give and take at this place.
It's a compromise deal where you have to give up a little bit. Personally, in my opinion, you got to give up a little bit of tunnel and turn 3 speed to make sure you get a good run off of turn 1.
The biggest thing is to get through turn 3 really well. It's leading to that really long front stretch, which seems like a mile long. So you got to carry as much speed through there as you can. And then the rest of the track, you just kind of get by with what you can get by with.
A lot of people would say that turn 3 is really important to get down that long straightaway, but I don't know if everybody pays enough attention to coming off at 2 because I feel like it's a bit tighter. Yes, it's more banked, but that's pretty important.
The tunnel turn back there is pretty sketchy. You just got to drive it through that. It's all driver there.
Running side by side through the tunnel turn is pretty challenging in itself.
You got to have some cojones to get through there.
The tunnel turn, it's kind of like how big of coconuts do you have going through there and how hard can you slam the gas pedal down through there and just try and hold it wide open.
If anybody tells you you're going through there wide open, they're lying to you nowadays. I mean, the track's lost a lot of grip, and it's gotten a lot rougher, and you just can't really go through there wide open.
Man, it's pretty difficult to set up a truck. I wouldn't want to be a crew chief. I just want to be a driver.
So, Jeff, is it better to be a crew chief? I mean, is it better to be a driver than a crew chief?
Right there. Listen,
compromise is the big word we heard.
It is a big compromise, but the key is right here. Because if he can handle it through turn 1, I'll give up a little bit in turn 1 to make sure you can get across that tunnel turn. But more importantly, I still think getting off of turn 3 is where you're going to wind up winning the races. Because if you can get through turn 3, Todd, you can get back to start finish.
I'm a little disappointed with all those guys. None of them talked about how much fun this racetrack is. 3 different corners, and I used to have a blast. Every corner was different, and if you could make up the difference in your truck, like Jeff's saying, you could win the race.
Yeah, and if you did win, then it's fun. Then everybody loves it.
That's right.
Everybody loves that. Now, with an ARCA win at Pocono in 2016, Grant Enfinger is hoping his past experience will pay off in today's truck race. For a little extra racing insight, he went to the expert.
All right, we're here with Grant Enfinger for another Ask the Onion. All right, Grant, what do you got for me?
All right, Todd, what track that is currently not on the NASCAR Camping World truck schedule do you think should be?
Oh, good question. One racetrack that I always loved, whether it was Xfinity or trucks, was Indianapolis Raceway Park. What a great racetrack, and we used to have incredible races, side by side, high, low, didn't matter. Always packed the grandstands. They brought in more grandstands for those races. I really think we need to go back there.
I'd agree with that one.
Or any short track.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
What else you got for me?
All right, Martin Truex Jr., their foundation donated $1.2 million. Part of that was a fashion show. If you were going to walk down the runway, what would you wear?
Oh, my goodness. Oh. Well, I'm a jeans and T-shirt kind of guy, but that wouldn't work in a fashion show, so I don't know. Maybe a dress. I think I look good in a dress? Nah, I don't want to go there. All right. I just wouldn't be in it. How's that?
All right, fair enough.
There you go. There's Ask the Onion.
Well, Todd, that collar would look really good with a dress, I guess.
Yeah, no, I said I might wear a dress. I didn't say I wear dresses, okay?
But, John, he's already shaved his head. He can shave his legs.
This is really getting us in trouble right now.
Let's talk racing again.
Yeah, we'll get back to racing here in a moment. By the way, Grant Enfinger will start 6 today. Coming up on NASCAR Race Day, we'll get you set up for trucking at the Big Triangle. Stay tuned, everybody.
They say the trucks run the tricky triangle.
And around he goes into the outside wall.
Trouble, midpoint down the backstretch.
Hard into the outside wall.
They're crashing on the back straightaway.
Welcome back to Race Day, everybody. It is a beautiful day for racing as we count down to the green flag, 75 degrees and sunny in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Let's get you up to speed with our Race Day recap. Watch Todd Gilliland come right at you and go for a spin, but again, no harm, no foul there. The truck was fine, and he was fast in that practice otherwise. But check out Noah Gragson. He was sick in qualifying. There you see he got really ill on the golf cart, and he will not race today due to illness. He still does have the spot in the playoffs with the medical exemption, and Eric Jones will pilot that truck today. Now take a look at this spin today by Stuart Friesen. He gets way too low. The apron, how rough it is down there, upsets the truck. He goes for a spin, but again, a great job of keeping it off the wall. He got a new set of tires and will start at the back of the pack, but this field at the green will be led by none other than Kyle Busch with a track record. He's got his 51 truck up on the pole. With that in mind, gentlemen, let's take a look at the starting grid, see who will start where when that green flag does wave.
Yeah, how about Joe Nemechek substituting for his son John Hunter, starting 6th? You know, Joe's got a little experience here. He's got over 5,000 laps at Pocono.
No, he's part of the senior tour, and he's looking pretty strong today. But I'm going to be watching this group at the back of the field being led by Brett Moffitt. He's starting shotgun on the field, but there's a lot of fast trucks back there. I'm going to be curious to see if they kind of work together to work their way up through the field.
So all of these 8 different winners, one thing they did have in common, they all started in the top 6. Average position, starting position for a winner is 3rd.
It's really hard to win from the back here because the race is very short stages, only 15 laps in each stage. So strategy can play a part today because you need to work your way up. Like you said, these guys starting in the back, the strategy is going to play a key in that.
It really will be, and that's going to be the thing. 4 tires or 2 tires, you know, we saw whenever, I think about a year ago, Kyle Busch lost the race because he put on 4 tires and got too deep in the field late in the race and couldn't claw his way back up through there. So you can get to the front, but it's going to take a little bit of sleight of hand and some strategy to pull it off.
Yeah, but don't blink. It can go by in a hurry.
Exactly right.
Race Day continues tomorrow. We'll be looking at the different avenues of racing that can help create a NASCAR star. Kenny Wallace talks with fellow dirt racer Kyle Larson about how he came up through the racing ranks, and Regan Smith sits down with William Byron to discuss how he learned about stock car racing using computer simulation program iRacing. That's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, live on FS1. We are continuing to count down to racing at Pocono. Just a little bit over 27 minutes to the green flag. Stay with us, everybody. More Race Day in a moment. Welcome back to Race Day, everybody. Driver introductions are underway at Pocono Raceway. Again, what a beautiful day it is in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, as we count you down to the green flag. Here's an interesting note. Kyle Busch Motorsports has won this race in the past 3 years, but with 3 different drivers. The boss got the first win in 2015, and he will start on the pole today. He's followed by William Byron and Christopher Bell. So certainly there is a good chance we may see Kyle Busch again waving that checkered flag.
That's a good shot. You know, KBM as a company, they have an open book policy. Everybody knows each other's setups, but they're also allowed to have their own setups. And I think that they've just got really good crew chiefs, really good trucks, and they share the information, and it makes the company whole a lot stronger.
But the thing is right now, we talk about what's going on with Mr. Jones back here starting the back of the field, but I think he's got a legitimate shot to challenge Kyle. And so does, I believe, the same thing for Todd Gilliland. These guys are going to put on a whale of a show, but there's always somebody that will change something up in the middle of a race that could throw you a curve. So you never know. It could wind up being Grant Enfinger.
Yeah, now if you want to use that strategy, you better do it fast.
Exactly.
That's right.
Because this thing can go by in a hurry. We got short stages. Who do you think is going to make it up there?
I think both of them. I think Eric Jones, Brett Moffitt?
Yep.
For sure.
They're coming.
I mean, they're good
coming.
trucks.
That's the whole thing is right now, they'll be making their way up there. And Stuart Friesen's the same way. He's got 4 brand new tires. He's going to be coming to the front.
Yeah, now this will be Kyle Busch's last truck race of the season, but if he wins today, he will tie Ron Hornaday for most wins in series history. Even more impressive is the fact that it took Kyle less than half the number of the starts to reach those 50 wins. Now, while Hornaday won 14% of his races, Busch has visited victory lane 35% of the time he has been in a truck. Guys, that's phenomenal.
It really is. But when you got to put this thing in perspective, though, you know, what Kyle's been able to do is he's taken pages away from everybody who started this series as far as the truck's concerned, including, you know, Ron Hornaday, and he has built upon that. He's got a great organization. This is one of the most powerful organizations in the Camping World Truck Series.
Yeah, you know, Kyle's going to be the all-time leader because he's going to race a lot more races. He's going to, unfortunately, beat Ron for wins, but Ron's legacy is not going to be how many wins he has in this series. It's going to be about what he did for this series.
Absolutely.
Building the fan base, start one of the founding drivers of this deal, and Ron's personality brought the fans to this series, and they loved watching him race. Whether you loved him or hated him, you wanted to see Ron Hornaday race.
And Dale Earnhardt recognized that ability and what he brought to the sport. And that's the reason why he tapped him as a driver.
Yeah, and why he's a Hall of Famer as well. Want to thank everybody for coming along for the ride on this edition of Race Day. But right now, let's get you to the racing action. And for that, we go to Vince Welch.
Thank you, John. This is Pocono. The playoffs are looming. 3 regular season races remain, and there's already pre-race drama impacting some championship contenders. Noah Gragson, one of today's favorites, has fallen ill. He tried to answer the call at qualifying, couldn't do it, and did not receive medical clearance from NASCAR to run the race. So there will be a substitute driver in the 18. Kentucky race winner Ben Rhodes is healthy, but he had to feel sick when he crashed his truck at the end of final practice yesterday. Rhodes shifts to the backup truck and consequently will start at the rear of the field. 2-time series champion Matt Crafton isn't happy either. Pocono has always left Crafton searching, and again this weekend he has more questions than answers. He qualified 20th. And how about Johnny Sauter? He has won 4 times this season, but 2 of his worst finishes have come the last 2 races. The season-long points leader looks to turn it around today and quite possibly score his first Pocono win. A lot of questions about what we might see this afternoon. Let's start getting some answers, beginning with Caitlin Vincey.
Well, Vince, as you talked about, Noah Gragson under the weather, and really talking with him, the problem started yesterday after final practice. He said he was battling some stomach issues, so he had to go to the infield care center, get an IV for some fluids. Then today, more of the same issues for Noah. He had attempted to come out for qualifying, but was not able to lay down a qualifying lap, just feeling too ill. So once again, he had to go to infield care center for a medical examination, was not cleared by NASCAR. As you mentioned, they have granted him a waiver, however, for missing this race, but in his place will be Eric Jones, former Kyle Busch Motorsports driver, past champion in the Truck Series in 2015. Eric will be hopping in this car for Noah today. Hermie?
Well, Caitlin, what's the one thing that really scares race car drivers? It's not driving down in turn 1 at Pocono at 180 miles an hour. No, it's not being in control of your own destiny. And that's exactly where the 88 of Matt Crafton finds himself today. Look at our playoff standings with only 3 races left until the playoffs begin. Right now, Matt Crafton is right on the cut line. If Myatt Snyder, Cody Coughlin, Dalton Sargent, Todd Gilliland, Austin Hill, any of those drivers get a win before Matt Crafton gets one, he could be on the outside looking in, not where we thought we would see a 2-time series champion when the season started. Vince?
That's for sure, Hermie. So from Crafton on the playoff cut line to the complete playoff picture, take a look at, of course, the winners this season highlighted in yellow. Gragson won't race today. Moffitt, Rhodes, and Friesen will all start at the rear. And you mentioned Matt Crafton is on the playoff bubble. So certainly Infinger, Friesen, and Crafton all have their own little battle going on to try to make sure they're not the driver in that 8th position in case someone below them would happen to win and knock them out of the mix.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please rise and remove your hats as the Girl Scout Troop 50713 out of Tobyhanna, Pennsylvania presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Billy Malden of Motor Racing Outreach offers today's invocation.
Let's pray. Gracious God and Heavenly Father, we are so thankful for this beautiful day here at Pocono. And as we enjoy the freedoms and liberties, Father, here today that we have, we want to remember the men and women of our armed forces, both here at home and abroad, that are protecting and defending them. Be with them and be with their families. Watch over these drivers, teams, officials today. Give them a safe day of racing. And Father, may your peace and may your presence be with us all. It's in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Megan Watring, accompanied by Seth Finnerty from the Scranton School of the Deaf and Hard of Hearing.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight over the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets rang clear, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Let's hear the tricky triangle. It befuddles many. 32 getting ready to climb in their truck. Who's going to have the answer today?
Pocono Raceway is a perfect place to spend our Saturday afternoon.
There's more on the line here than just the win at the end of the day.
There's stage points available. There's playoff points available. They're going to try to outsmart each other and get as many of them as they can.
And we are racing at Pocono. Look at those two black trucks on the bottom. Oh, Kyle Busch going around.
This is Bell's best corner right here.
He doesn't. Got it.
For the third year in a row, Kyle Busch Motorsports will win at Pocono. This time around, it's the Ford truck driven by Christopher Bell, his fourth win of the season.
Good job, Marie. That's a badass drive right there.
It's been a KBM kind of place, but what about today? It's the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series, racing at Pocono, the Gander Outdoors 150. The 9th time the trucks have raced at Pocono, and as you heard, the last 3 years, Kyle Busch Motorsports driver has gone to victory lane. With Michael Waltrip, Phil Parsons, I'm Vince Welch. Phil, it's a short race, and everybody in the garage seems to be talking about strategy. It's a key word. Why?
Well, Vince, I think this race plays out perfectly as far as the length of the stages. Our first stage is 15. Our second stage is 15. The final stage 30. These guys can go about 30 laps on a tank of fuel, so that allows them, because of the size of this racetrack, to maybe short pit in that second stage before they get to around 27, 28 laps. As long as you're within 14 seconds of a leader, you can come down pit road, change 4 tires and fuel, and then be good to go to the end and have track position, Mike.
And you know, track position played into who won this race a year ago. Kyle Busch dominated early, won both stages to start the race, but then back in traffic, got clipped and into the outside wall. That just shows you how much strategy can mix up the running order here. Kyle found himself in the traffic, and around he went. Does he win today? He'll have to pull the right strategy.
And it would be a historical win if indeed the 51 can do it this afternoon.
Race fans, it's time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome our Grand Marshal, Gander Outdoors Vice President of Merchandising, Bill Bremner.
Drivers, start your engines.
We've had 8 different winners this season. Is someone new going to add their name to the list today at Pocono?
The NASCAR Camping World Truck Series comes to Pocono Raceway. Joey Coulter will score his first win here at Pocono Raceway.
The checkered flag's going to go to Blaney at Pocono.
Austin Dillon behind the wheel. He wins the Pocono Mountains 150. Kyle Busch wins today at Pocono.
William Byron does it again, winning at Pocono. This time around, it's the 4 truck driven by Christopher Bell. Splendid afternoon to be at the racetrack or watching racing at Pocono as the trucks have rolled off pit road and will get ready to line up for this 150-miler, the 14th of 23 truck races this season. Let's take a look at our Camping World track description.
You can see the track's 2.5 miles long. Each turn is uniquely different. Each straightaway is different as well. So one of the most fun tracks to drive when you got a fast, good handling truck, and one of the most challenging ones when you don't.
Everything's different about this place. The show Rotella Race Analysis.
See the stage lengths here. 15, 15, and 30 are pit windows, somewhere around 30 laps, 28 to 32. The length of the race, 60 laps. Last year's winner, Christopher Bell.
See all those black marks there, Vince? That kind of iterates how tough this place is as they exit the turn.
Yeah, that's where folks have gotten into the wall, and that is not good. They want to stay away from that today, but I'm sure we're going to see others in it as we take a look at the starting lineup, led by Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's been a bit of a drought for KBM, though. They have not won in the last 7 races. That's the longest drought in 3 years. You got to go back to the beginning of the 2015 season, the last time KBM went 7 races in a season without a win.
Oh, that's hard to believe, isn't it? Wow.
That's not a drought. I know a little bit of something about a drought. I can't get with you there.
That's 479 short of a drought.
Let's don't talk numbers. Let's don't talk numbers. You see Stuart Friesen there starting up in the 12th position, but I think he'll have to go to the rear.
Yeah, he
for
does.
A tire change.
Jordan Rhodes as well.
Yep, but there's so many great trucks falling to the back. Jordan Anderson didn't drive at Eldora. He's in the truck again. Matt Crafton from the 20th position. There's going to be so many great stories, Phil, of guys trying to march to the front.
J.J. Yaley there back in row number 12.
B.J. McLeod making one of his few starts. Norm Benning, fresh off of a fun, energetic run at Eldora. Now watch this row, row 16. How many times do you think maybe the winner's going to come from row 16, the last row in the field?
It's never happened here.
Well, you saw Eric Jones and Brett Moffitt there, of course, having to go to the rear. Eric Jones because he's subbing for Noah Gregson, who is ill. Moffitt, they had to make an engine change after practice yesterday and also did not make a qualifying attempt today, just kind of saving the tires on that truck. No sense putting them to the test in qualifying when they were going to be starting at the rear anyway. Going to give you some great views today. How about some of those onboard looks?
Yeah, we're going to ride along in the Ford onboard of Myatt Snyder. This is a Century container Ford for ThorSport Racing. He will be starting from the 8th spot. And guess what, Mike? He's got the visor cam on that truck. We're going to have some great pictures from Myatt here as he negotiates this 3-turn tricky oval.
You know, we talked about all the guys that are going to the back, but we're going to hop on the fastest truck so far in Pennsylvania, and that's Kyle Busch. He's going to take our Toyota onboard camera and his Beechcraft Tundra, start from the pole position.
Well, Eric Jones is subbing for Noah Gregson, certainly a big story. Jones has not been in this truck at all until he got in it right here to take these warm-up laps prior to starting the green. You want to try to talk to him?
Yeah, let's see if we can holler at him. Hey, Eric Jones, Phil Parsons and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
I got you.
Well, I know KBM really appreciates you pinch hitting for Noah here. First time you've been in that truck, first time you've been in a truck in a while. What are your thoughts going into this thing today?
Obviously, in the circumstances, I'd like to be back in a truck. You know, we're hoping Noah's getting better here soon. But, I mean, it's going to be fun. It's kind of a old class reunion for myself, Rudy, and even Hirschman up on the roof. So it's going to be a fun day. It's going to take me a while to probably get a feel for this thing here to fire off, but sounds like they had a pretty good truck to practice. Hopefully we can work our way up to the front and give ourselves a shot at the 10.
All right, buddy, thanks for talking to us, and congratulations on that big cup win.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
Let's hear from some of the crew chiefs, starting with Caitlin.
Yeah, Vince, Doug Randolph calling the shots for Dalton Sargent. With 3 races to go till the playoffs cut off, how aggressive will you be on strategy to try and go after a race win?
Well, we'll be real aggressive. Dalton's done a great job in the Performance Plus Chevrolet this weekend. We got a fast truck. Team's getting better and better every week. Feel like we got an opportunity to win. But, yeah, with 3 races to go, we sort of got to swing for the fences. If we run out of gas with a couple laps to go, then so be it.
All right, well, good luck to you. Dalton Sargent starts 4th for today's race. Hermie.
Well, Caitlin, Eddie Traconis is the crew chief for Ben Rhodes. A little bit of a setback for you guys yesterday. Crashed on the last lap of practice. So qualifying today was your first laps with this truck. How close is this truck being to what you think you need to contend today?
Well, I think we're pretty close, you know. Yeah, unfortunately, you know, the practice yesterday, doing our mock-up run, you know, we got greedy. I mean, we just want to win every race, and it's unfortunately, but I think we have, right now, we have Trucks 35, that is the Kentucky winner. First lap, you said qualifying, you know, we just check our travels, took it easy, a little free, but we're going to make adjustments, and I mean, we're going to get there at the end of the race, and we're going to be there to battle for the win.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Love that guy. Just such a great spirit. He's in a backup truck. It's the truck that won the race in Kentucky just a few weeks ago.
They'd be a lot more nervous if they hadn't won at Kentucky a couple of weeks ago, but they know they've got their playoff spot secure.
Vince, check out all those trucks trying to get to the back. How do you sort that out? Racing to the back.
6 trucks going to the rear of the field because of a variety of issues with that group. Well, this could be a special day for Kyle Busch Motorsports and its namesake, Kyle Busch. He would tie the all-time record set by Ron Hornaday for most wins in series history if Kyle could get the victory today. What's that mean to Kyle?
Oh, it's very important. I mean, we talked earlier about how much he puts into the truck series. We were trying to find who might be a suitable replacement for Noah Gragson earlier, Vince, and guess who that might be? They said it would be someone with some Kyle Busch Motorsports.
Well, that should limit it down pretty good, right?
We found 37 people on that list that might have stepped in to Noah Gregson's truck, and that just tells you what a mark Kyle's made on this series and how important getting to victory lane. There's Hillman, his crew chief, looking down at the monitor, plotting his strategy. I'm sure already trying to figure out exactly how they're going to play these stage breaks and be able to wind up in victory lane without a crash like they had a year ago due to strategy.
Well, and they've already won together once this season, Hillman and Kyle Busch. That was at Las Vegas. And Hillman, how about the job Mike Hillman Jr. has done? 6 different drivers that he has worked with. Spencer Davis, of course, Kyle, Harrison Burton, Brandon Jones, Riley Herbst, Logan Seavey. I mean, he has worked with a bunch as the crew chief, and he's a veteran, so he's a good one to have with some of those guys.
And that 51 truck has been out of the top 10 this year one time, and that was a 13th place finish. Every other finish top 10.
And you see the last 3 years, Kyle Busch Motorsports has won here at Pocono. Kyle will start from the pole for the 3rd time this season in his 5 races.
And starting from the pole with a new track record, too. So lightning fast around this tricky, tough 2.5 mile triangle. But I'm telling you, I think there's some great speed up near the front. Justin Haley's got speed. So does Grant Enfinger. Dalton Sargent showed well in practice.
And I love what Doug Randolph said. If we run out of gas with a couple laps to go, so be it.
What line you start in, whether it's the start of the race or the restart, is going to be key throughout the day as well. Kyle chose the outside, and we're green and racing at Pocono.
Nice start by the Ford truck of Todd Gillen. I think he's got an advantage over Busch.
It almost looked like Kyle had a little trouble going from 2nd to 3rd on his upshift.
Gilliland to the front, Justin Haley in that 24 trying to secure 2nd with Kyle working the outside. Kyle Busch slips in 3rd.
Side by side over the tunnel is tricky. You can see the 98 truck of Enfinger on the bottom. And there goes Kyle Busch stopping inside of Haley.
Well, made that pass going into the tunnel turn.
The last time that happened last year, that didn't work.
Between those two,
they got together.
Look at this move with our visor cam. Nice to the outside in turn 3.
Myatt Snyder working around the 25 of Dalton Sargent. Those two battling for Rookie of the Year.
Nice pass by Myatt there. This kid's shown a lot of progress. He gets faster and faster, it seems, every week. And that was a veteran move. We talked about the rookie, a veteran move he made down in turn 3.
Speaking of veterans, Kyle stalking the rookie Todd Gilliland.
That stalk's going to cost him some momentum, Vince, and it looked like maybe Haley thought about moving inside of him, but it didn't work.
Kyle on the backstretch inside of the 4 of Gilliland, going to the front for the lead, and Gilliland crossing over, takes a look. Kyle closes the door.
The slingshot definitely works with these trucks. They punch such a big hole in the air as we keep an eye on Eric Jones, the 18 truck left side of your screen.
Jones started 31st. He's already up to 17th and taken 16th from Ben Rhodes.
And I guarantee he's smiling. I mean, that's a good feeling, getting a truck he hadn't been in yet, start in the back and say, oh, wow, this thing's got some grip to it and some speed, and he's ripping through the field. See Crafton down on the inside in that bright yellow truck. He's not made a great deal of progress. Up just inside the top 15. That's Tanner Thorson, the 20 truck for Young Motorsports, trying to get around the 21 of Johnny Sauter.
How about Young Motorsports with Tanner Thorson and Austin Hill both qualifying inside the top 12 today, making it to the final round of qualifying?
Yeah, Austin Hill was one of the trucks that had to go back to the back of the pack for the start of this race due to unapproved adjustments.
It's the 4th start of the season for Thorson, the former USAC champion. And that's Johnny Sauter just ahead of him.
Johnny Sauter, one of our big 3 in the truck series. Just like the Monster Energy Cup guys, we got 3 competitors that have dominated. Sauter leads that list along with Noah Gregson, who isn't competing. And just outside Sauter's mirror, that's Brett Moffitt that's already joined this battle position. He dives to the inside there. So Sauter's struggling, and I know it's got to be really rewarding for Tanner Thorson to say, I'm heating up Johnny Sauter, one of the big 3. And I've got Stuart Friesen right behind me, one of the best, one of the strongest trucks we've had all year. And Brett Moffitt, as you mentioned, one of our big 3.
Just underway here at Pocono, the early laps of stage 1. Michael, a few moments ago you mentioned about momentum as you see Snyder challenging Joe Nemechek for 5th. How significant is that momentum that you build up around this place with these different engines and also just the track itself?
Well, it's such an opportunity, Vince, when you get a run on a guy. See that big spoiler on the back of the truck? See how tilted the windshield is? They punch a huge hole in the air, and you're able to drive up as the back truck in that void and be able to really gain some ground. You see back in the back there trying to break that draft. It's a key part of success here at Pocono. You try to get off the corner just a little bit better than the guy ahead of you so you can make that run down the long straightaways.
Grant Infinger taking a look inside the 8 of Joe Nemechek. Normally Joe's son John Hunter drives that truck for John Hunter in Iowa to run for the Ganassi Group in the Xfinity Series this weekend. So Joe moves from the 87 to the 8. Timmy Hill is in the 87 this week.
We'll see if Grant can finish that pass as they go through the tunnel. He does back off. Joe had position on the outside. Looks like maybe Sauter's truck's getting better as they go, Phil. You can see he's driven away from Moffitt and Thorson, the trucks we saw him with just a bit ago. Now he's trying to get to the inside of the 2 of Cody Coughlin. Makes that move on the bottom.
Sauter there in that red and white 21. 15th and 16th the last 2 races, outside the top 10 in back-to-back races for the first time in more than 2 years. Now granted, last time was at Eldora. He admits dirt's not his thing, but you don't see Johnny Sauter finishing 15th and 16th in back-to-back races.
And remember that the race before Eldora, pit road miscues are what took him out of a top 10 finish.
Eric Jones in that 18 subbing for the ill Noah Gregson. Boy, it's got to break Gregson's heart to be watching this on television and not be there in that seat. It means so much to him to race in this series. Just couldn't get the clearance to do so.
But days like this, Vince, this can make his bid for this championship even more determined. When to overcome this, and maybe Eric Jones feels things in the truck that he can report back to the crew that he liked about it, and Noah, the young kid, can learn from that. But mainly, Phil, I think it'll just be inspiration for him when he gets back in that truck saying, I'm winning this championship. I feel like I let my team down because I couldn't compete. I'm going to make it up to him.
Brett Moffitt in that 16, that two-show Toyota, looking good. Seems to be moving inside the top 10 now, Hermie.
Vince, he started 31st, right inside the top 10. We documented he blew up an engine yesterday in practice, so he had to drop to the tail end of the field to start the race today. But one thing I noticed yesterday in practice that a lot of teams were trying to adjust to is a new left side tire that Goodyear is currently running on these trucks. One of the characteristics, less stagger, makes these trucks a little bit tighter. They don't want to turn quite as good. That's one thing Scott Zipadelli said has really been helping their race team, especially on high-speed racetracks like this. They've adjusted how they're unloading, how they're preparing the truck at the track to get it here and be more prepared for tires with less stagger. That's helping them carry that speed through the entire weekend.
Good information, Hermie. Halfway point of stage one. They're all chasing Kyle Busch, leading the way at Pocono. On board with the leader, Kyle Busch, the Gander Outdoors 150 at Pocono Raceway, the Camping World Truck Series. Kyle, a former winner here, won in 2015. Did not lead the first lap, even though he started from the pole. Todd Gilliland led the first lap. Kyle has led the 9 since. Remember this first stage, 15 laps around this 2.5-mile triangle.
Remember also, this is a big day for Kyle Busch, trying to get that milestone 50 first victory, Tyron Hornaday. But it's also a huge day for Todd Gilliland. We talked about this for the last couple of weeks, couple of races. This might be Gilliland's best chance to win one of these races, and he needs to get to victory lane in that Ford truck to make himself playoff eligible, to be able to be in the playoff, and that's what he's focused on right now.
Myatt Snyder running 5th. Caitlin.
Yeah, it's been a pretty good day, Vince, so far for Myatt Snyder. And talking with him earlier today, he said he thought maybe some of his past experience in the ARCA Series might help him here since it's his first time here in the truck. But when I asked him about the agenda for today's race, he said for us it is all about the win right now, with this team currently on the outside looking in to the playoffs. But right now, just getting some feedback from his spotter about improving his line through turn 1. Hermie.
Caitlin, the 16, could be having engine trouble again. We just mentioned issues in qualifying. He is now saying when he's letting off the throttle, it is vibrating on the racetrack. They're going under the hood. The 16 is on pit road, but potentially another engine issue for Brett Moffitt.
This is highly unusual, Vince, to have even one engine problem throughout the course of the weekend, and now a second.
Remember, this is an OEM engine. This is a Toyota engine, as Kyle Busch is going to short pit here in stage 1.
Opens the door for Todd Gilliland to collect those points. The stage win potentially as well. Caitlin is there for Kyle.
Yeah, the feedback that Kyle was giving on the radio is just tight in the center through turn 1. Other than that, Kyle said that this 51 truck pretty much good everywhere else. If you look at the 13 of Myatt Snyder on the right-hand side of your screen, you also see him electing to come down early. A chassis adjustment there, going ahead and getting the tires put on for Myatt Snyder. Kyle Busch is off and away, and they're going around to the, well, it's just going to be a right-side stop only for Myatt.
Yeah, they had a problem on that right front, and now we've got an issue with the 16 of Moffitt, who had come in. They'd raised the hood, and now Moffitt, after departing his pit box, has put it in reverse and heading back.
That was
headed, it looks like
the garage.
Yeah. Tough weekend for this team, trying to get ready to make their way into the playoff, and struggling today.
Well, that's the good news for the 16, though, is that they have 3 wins already this season, so not a problem for them. But how about Eric Jones, who hopped in this truck, hadn't been in it at all season long, jumps in for Noah Gregson, who's sick, and Eric Jones drives it from the last row to 4th in 13 laps.
It took 13 laps to do it, though, Vince.
Check out Johnny Sauter. He's been able to take advantage of some of those guys short pitting. He's up in the 7th position. It's Joe Nemechek in that 8 truck. Great run for Joe.
How much fun it must be for Joe to be in that truck giving it a run today.
It makes me happy. It's fun for me. Joe's a veteran. We raced together along with Will, and just being able to see Joe Nemechek, Todd Gilliland's dad, David, when he ran at Dover, a top 5 finish. These veterans getting it done in the Truck Series makes me smile.
You know how anxious and nervous Joe gets watching John Hunter race. I wonder how John Hunter's feeling as he watches his dad race today. 1 lap left here in the opening stage. Todd Gilliland up front, and he's being chased by Justin Haley.
And Haley had closed right down on the tailgate of that 4 truck. You can see there he's going to have a nice run here, and this is a playoff point they're racing for. This is a big deal to grab this stage victory.
We know Haley has already qualified for the playoffs by virtue of his win, so a playoff point would be big here.
Looks like Gilliland's a little bit slow over the tunnel, and that's going to open up the door for a run. Can he get there?
Maybe waiting to the exit of turn 3 here, Mike.
He did back up the corner, Phil. You see the gap grow on entry. Now they'll allow him to get the gas down, see if he can make the slingshot down the front.
He's going to get to him. I'm not sure he's going to get by him.
Oh, hey, Gilliland blocks the Haley charge. Todd Gilliland wins the stage, and here comes Sauter and Friesen battling for position as well, and it's going to be Sauter bringing it in 7th. It's the first stage win of the season for the 4 of Todd Gilliland. Points not a big factor for Gilliland now because he needs to win, but if he would happen to get that win, these playoff points would come in handy. Stage 1 in the books at Pocono. You see the results from stage 1. Todd Gilliland winning the stage. Eric Jones made the charge all the way from the last row up inside the top 5. Subbing for Noah Gregson. If you're just joining us, Gregson has been battling a stomach bug the last few days. Wasn't able to qualify today and went to the medical center and was not given clearance to race this afternoon. So Jones had to be called into action. Working with crew chief Rudy Fugel, the 2 of them teamed up to win the championship in 2015. So certainly no stranger to it. Caitlin's there as some of the front runners come to pit road.
Yeah, Vince Dalton Sargent has made his way to pit road at the top of your screen, saying I was lifting early to get through 1 and 2 faster. It seemed like it was working pretty well. He was able to pick up some stage points there in that first stage. Go ahead and make it a 4-tire change for him. In the middle of your screen, Justin Haley. He said he was just too tight getting into turn 3. Overall, happy with the balance. Hermie.
Big stage win for Todd Gilliland in the 4. 2 right side tires and some wedge out. His truck was too tight.
Justin Haley is going to win the battle off pit road with this 2-tire change.
Yeah, it looks like everybody's pretty much going. All the front runners went with 2 there. I think it's interesting. You see the 18 of Jones, he got 4. Justin Fontaine jumped all the way up 11 spots because he didn't get any tires. And I think I'm seeing a trend, Phil. These guys think those right side tires might be more important than the left, and that's another piece of your strategy play you talked about. Do you get 4 after the second stage?
Let's see if we can talk to our stage winner. Hey, Todd Gilliland, Phil Parsons, and the boys in the Fox booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Great job on that first stage there. Obviously, Boss Man did a little strategy, hit a little bit early. How's that truck? Can you keep up with him if you have to race him at the end?
Yeah, I think we're going to get a little bit better this run, making some adjustments, so we'll see where we end up.
All right, great job, buddy. Thanks for talking to us.
9 races this season for Todd Gilliland, 5 top 10s. Had that second place finish earlier in the season and a great run at Texas where he led 62. He's back out front at Pocono. Hey, make sure you're watching tonight on Fox. Former champions highlight UFC Fight Night. First, it's Jose Aldo taking on Jeremy Stevens, followed by the controversial rematch between Eddie Alvarez and Dustin Poirier. It's all tonight, 6 o'clock Eastern on Fox, or you can stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Well, Johnny Sauter penalized for too fast entering on that stop. And more for Pit Road with Hermie.
Marcus Richmond, the crew chief for Todd Gitterland. Big stage win for your team there. You came down pit road, took 2 tires. How do you expect your truck to react?
I think it's going to be a little bit tighter. We was a little snug there in the first run, but the Mobile 1 Tundra's got a lot of speed. So if we can get him freed up, keep him clean air right here, just be in position at the end, that's where it's going to be at.
That's the crew chief, Vincent.
Well, he said he was a little snug the first run, and then they just put right side tires on, which typically will make you even more tight. So they make a chassis adjustment to try to free it up and counter that change.
Yeah, I would think so. Either with air pressure or the wedge wrench.
Get ready for the restart here and get stage 2 rolling.
See Mike Schneider's lined up on the front row alongside Kyle Busch.
They, of course, pitted earlier. Those that just pitted, the 4 of Gilliland and the 24 of Haley, will start right behind them.
And we know that these guys can comfortably get to the end of stage 2 or close to the end of stage 2. They may do it again. I would think a lot of these guys, as we talked at the top of the show, will short pit this next stage and try to go to the end.
That's where you can gamble to maybe get that win that you need to get to the playoffs. Maybe if you don't have a truck that's a winning truck, but you can gamble and make it on fuel mileage, that could be the key. Only 3 races remain, actually 2 after today, before we get to the playoffs. Michigan and Bristol. Stage 2 underway. Kyle Busch jumping to the front. Mike Snyder inside.
Oh, it was obvious when he jumped in the throttle, wasn't it? Man, did that truck accelerate.
Yeah, he didn't get a great start on the initial green flag fill of the race, but that time corrected any issue he might have had. You could see Todd Gilliland jumping in right behind him. Snyder struggled a bit. You talked about the importance of how close you are to the playoff. Snyder right on that playoff bubble battle. So he needs all the positions he can get.
Look who's in third now, guys. Eric Jones up to third in that 18 truck.
He's been a pleasure to watch. So much fun to see him slice it through this field. And I think he's going to be the guy that can just flat out run Kyle Busch. Wouldn't that be a great story?
It's 1, 2, 3 for KBM. Kyle Busch in the front and Todd Gilliland running second with Eric Jones third.
How about Joe Nemechek taking over that 5th spot there?
Jones inside of Gilliland looking for second. And what a story it's been. Eric Jones starting at the rear of the field, subbing for Noah Gregson, and he has taken it to the front, going past Gilliland for second, putting his eyes on the boss, Kyle Busch.
Can you imagine jumping in a truck you hadn't been in, hadn't run a truck race in quite some time, and being able to drive from the back all the way to second, and the only person that he's not passed yet on the track is Kyle Busch, and he lies straight ahead. It's going to heat up Kyle's game, too. He says, here comes my buddy, Eric Jones. We know what a talented shoe he has. Got that big Monster Energy Cup win down in Daytona. Ever since he showed up, Bill, at the age of 16, we said this is a future superstar.
Without a doubt, he won his 2nd or 3rd start at Phoenix out there driving for KBM. Such a talented young driver.
And this is a truck that was fast. I mean, give credit where credit is due. Obviously, Eric Jones has done a great job, but this was a fast truck yesterday in practice as well. And in race trim, it was among the top 2 or 3 fastest.
So most of the talk in the garage area events was that it was the best truck here in practice.
Caitlin.
Well, you guys have been talking about Eric Jones hopping back into this truck for the first time in a while, and I actually asked Rudy Fugel about that exact thing right before this race, about the challenges, both for the driver and for the team. He said, well, it's good because we're all very familiar with Eric Jones at KBM. We all know what he needs, what he likes, and he said this is essentially the exact same road crew as well that Eric had when he was over at KBM, won his championship. So that familiarity obviously is helping him. The only thing he has said recently is that he's a little bit tight, but overall, Eric happy with the balance of that 18 truck right now. Vince?
Well, there couldn't be a more comfortable situation considering the circumstances to what this team's dealing with.
Yeah, without a doubt. I think the only possible uncomfortable thing is how quickly and how good he got the seats fit, because it's not like it used to be. I could have gotten Michael's seats raced back in the day and vice versa. It's not like that anymore. These seats are custom made to these drivers, and so obviously they've done a great job fitting Eric into that truck.
Dalton Sargent on the move inside of Todd Gilliland for third.
This is a huge day for Sargent. Man, he is pouring it on. He gets around Gilliland a lot of speed in the 25 truck, and we've talked about how he's just steady and consistently puts down top 10 finishes and runs well in the truck. But I think this might be a big charge for him to be able to get around that KBM truck and only have 2 more of them ahead of him.
Kyle Busch continues to lead as we're closing in on the end of stage 2. We're going to break, but you won't miss a thing. Going to keep on trucking.
All week we work, and when Friday comes, we all get to raise a little hell.
Section TU 402, row 41.
Section 156, row 4.
Section 25, row 3.
What a year for Bubba.
Section O, row 25. Section 233, row 1.
Martin Truex Jr. wins.
We will you be in. The history is made at Indianapolis. Big Machine Vodka 400 at the Brickyard, September 8th and 9th. Call 1-800-822-INDY to get your tickets now.
Watch your back, Cole.
Nothing gets a family's full attention like my freshly prepared chicken. The delicious KFC $20 fill-up with 8 pieces of extra crispy chicken and sides will surely get your kids off their phones. And they may even look at you, their loving parent. KFC, finger looking good.
All week we work. We clock in, roll up our sleeves, and get the job done. And when Friday comes, we all get to raise a little hell.
Couple of Kyle Busch Motorsports trucks up front. That's not a huge surprise as you watch the Gander Outdoors 150, but the fact it's Kyle Busch and Eric Jones is a bit of a surprise for sure as Jones goes inside of Kyle, and this is for the lead.
You don't think Kyle said, maybe we should have got somebody else to drive that truck?
Yeah, the last time by, Jones had Kyle Busch by 0.2 of a second and was able to drive up and make the move. How cool is that? This kid just got in the truck for the first time an hour ago, and now he's leading this race. What a talent he is. I think Kyle's truck's tightened up and already working the throttle there on the exit in, so it's a good sign that his truck isn't handling like he hopes.
Eric Jones, the 2015 Series champion. Dalton Sargent on pit road. A strategy play, Caitlin?
Yeah, and talking with his crew chief, Doug Randolph, before the race, he told me for them it's all about going after the race win, not worried about points. So that is the goal for them, taking right sides only for Dalton Sargent.
And Ben, it's critical that Dalton or Justin Haley don't make a mistake on pit road.
They already made one. Look, Mike, had to jack it back up, didn't have the right rear tire on.
I believe that's costly. I'm doing all to make sure I just got 2 tires there. I saw the left on the wall.
I think we're going to see Eric Jones and probably Kyle Busch both come to pit road now because they can safely get to pit road before the next truck gets to the start-finish line because that closes the pits, and here they come.
Eric Jones leading the way in the 18, Kyle Busch right behind him. Caitlin has both drivers as they come to their pit box.
Yeah, listening to both of them on the radio, the feedback was always for them to come together down on pit road. And looking at the 51 truck of Kyle Busch, he was just saying it was getting tighter as the run went on. Now he's got his Cup Series 18 pit crew with him today on pit road. They are working on that 51 truck, and now looking at the 18 on the right-hand side, they're going to go and make it a 4th tire stop for Eric Jones. Hermie.
The 4 of Todd Gilliland back on pit road. Remember last time on pit road, only 2 right side tires. This time there will be 4 tires for Todd Gilliland. The truck is still too tight.
I think we're seeing that out of a lot of the competitors. We saw a big chassis adjustment to the right rear of Kyle Busch's 51 truck. He was complaining of that tight condition that we spoke of earlier. So it'll be interesting to see how well the drivers communicated to their crew chief what they were challenged with and how well the crew chiefs make adjustments.
One to go here in this second stage. Stuart Friesen out front, and Friesen, one of those battling for a playoff spot. So this is big for Friesen to get those playoff points and a stage win that could come in handy down the road.
Where'd he start?
He started at the back.
That's the story of today. Eric Jones to the front from the back, along with Stuart Friesen. We've seen a lot of fun runs from these competitors.
We had 6 start that had to go to the back because of a variety of adjustments, so we didn't have much of a middle part of the field. There was the front, there was the back.
Grant Enfinger took over that second spot from Mike Snyder. Remember, Grant Enfinger, Stuart Friesen, Matt Crafton, all battling for the 6th, 7th, 8th positions in the playoff standings.
You know, those drivers are all keeping an eye on one another, Crafton, Friesen, Enfinger, because they all want to finish ahead of the others that they're battling in points if they by chance don't get the race win, as Stuart Friesen collects stage win at number 4 this season.
And we saw Justin Haley right in front of Stuart Friesen. He barely stayed on the lead lap, guys.
It's been interesting. Friesen wins the stage. Is today the day he gets his first race win? Two stages in the books today at Pocono, and Grant Enfinger, who just won stage 2, Stuart Friesen, who just won stage 2. Grant Enfinger finished second in that stage and has totaled the most points today.
Those guys in the middle of that playoff battle, every one of those off the cut line.
Truck right there in the most points earned today category. Need them desperately. So you can see those crew chiefs. The wheels just really turning their brains how to go out there and collect points.
Todd Gilliland won stage 1. How about though Matt Crafton hasn't scored any points today, and he's the guy who came in on the playoff bubble.
Yeah, he's gonna have to rely on none of those guys below the cut line get to victory lane here in these last 3 races.
Now Crafton pitted on lap 27, so they've positioned themselves to go to the finish, trying to score the race win and gambling a bit, giving up those stage points. They're on pit road again, Caitlin.
Yeah, Ben's looking at Mike Snyder at the top of your screen. Ben, a pretty good day for him. We saw that graphic, able to pick up 8 stage points so far throughout the day. Telling the team still a little bit too loose for that 13 truck. Going to go ahead and make it a 4-tire stop for him. Hermie.
Grant Enfinger, one of the few trucks that is loose on my end of pit road. Right side is done, around to the left. They're adding wedge to the 98. The 52 truck is also tight. It will not turn, especially in the long and flat end of turn 3. Heading on the front straightaway, 4 tires and an air pressure adjustment for Stuart Friesen.
See the battle off pit road, and the 54 Blamasta's not taking any tires, and everyone else, for the most part, grabbing 4.
A bunch of trucks will line up in front of these trucks that came to pit road just now because they stopped early, as we speculated, at the very top of the show with 3 and 2 laps to go, respectively.
We give a shout out to Stuart Friesen after that stage victory. Stuart, it's Michael Waltrip and the boys up in the Fox booth. You copy? Come in, Stuart. Try him one more time. Stuart Friesen, it's Michael Waltrip and the Fox team. Do you copy? He does not copy.
He's not copy.
Well, it's a tricky triangle. Mike, it's kind of like the Bermuda Triangle for radios, and sometimes unable to.
He wasn't in the tunnel turn when you were trying to talk about him, was he?
No reception in the tunnel.
No reception in the tunnel.
Check out this. Aerodynamics are so important here at Pocono, Vince, and you can see here that wheel sucks up into the fender and how difficult it is to get it off. Cost him some precious time.
Can't afford to lose spots on pit road. Too hard to get on the track. Final stage coming your way from Pocono. Getting set to the final stage of the Gander Outdoors 150 here at Pocono Raceway. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series. People saving fuel, and let's update to 16. We thought maybe they were having an engine issue. They raised the hood on that truck a little bit earlier, but They took it to the garage, discovered that they were just having a right front suspension problem, so nothing in regards to the power plant. So Brett Moffitt, several laps down. It's not going to be his day today, but he is back out there and under full power.
They do know they had a good truck. He drove his way well up into the top 10 in the back.
And what an entertaining race this has been because of guys like Brett Moffitt. I know he's had some trouble, but look at this front row. Joe Nemechek up there along with Dalton Sargent. And then there's the two fastest trucks we think today, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones right there in the second row. Matt Crafton, we talked about his struggles today. Junior Joyner and that team have got him now up inside the top 5. So there's so many great stories that have developed, including Stuart Reeson, who won the last stage. Now he's back in the 10th place for this restart.
You know, the playoff standings that we had talked about with the 25 of Dalton Sargent leading in this race. This is putting Sargent in to the top column as a winner, potentially. And that would mean Matt Crafton's on the outside looking in the 9th spot. Remember, just the top 8 make the playoffs. That's why those points are so significant.
But Matt Crafton doesn't want to see that graphic. He's glad he's up in the top 5. He knows he's got a truck that he's going to be able to race to win with now. This is a big story for Crafton and his team to be able to be up in the top 5 with the way they've struggled.
Our top 8 stayed out there, hit it early before the end of the stage.
And Nemechek on the inside didn't take any tires when he hit it. Sargent took 2.
Watch those KBM trucks get together.
Look at Joe Nemechek wedging in between a couple of trucks, trying to get a good draft down the straightaway. It worked for him. He was able to stay ahead of Jones.
Kyle Busch on the outside of Nemechek, trying to score second.
Boy, Gillen was really loose down there on turn number 1.
Yeah, I think he got into Stuart Reeson. You can see the trucks all jumbled up there. There was some contact back there.
Look how much momentum he's lost too, Michael.
Really ran out off of turn 2.
Oh, this is a bad angle getting in there when they're down low like that. Can they make it?
Austin Wayne Self was able to do it. He came in there on the bottom of 3 wide and made it through that corner. Nice job.
Yeah, and Infinger and Gilliland would have been delicate through that corner as well. On board with Myatt Snyder.
We've seen a little bit of give and take in these first 2 stages. I think that's all over now.
A lot of taking going on.
You got to push and shove to make sure you don't give up any position. You can see the big block there by Haley, but he's not going to block Reeson. He'll have none of that.
Kyle Busch looking inside of Sargent. Meanwhile, it's freezing going past Haley.
Watch the Ford truck. See that mobile truck left side of your screen? And watch him get loose.
He gets into the Reeson. Yeah, see that clear tire?
He did touch.
That caused Thorsten Ben Rhodes to check up as well as Kyle Busch has gone around Dalton Sargent for the lead.
Here comes Eric Jones trying to get around Nemechek to take over that 3rd spot.
That was a big break for Jones because Nemechek got all bottled up there, lost his momentum. Jones took advantage of it. Kyle Busch knows he's got to go right now. He's going to run qualifying laps right here, trying to distance himself from Eric Jones. Jones had a faster truck in the long run earlier.
And all these drivers believe they can make it to the end, or they're counting on making it to the end, not coming to pit road again.
Yeah, exactly. From the time they pitted at lap 27 to 28, they've been saving fuel. They're able to save a lot of fuel during the 5 laps of caution. They should be okay.
It's been a nice run for the 25 of Dalton Sargent today, Caitlin.
Certainly has been, and I had a chance to talk with Dalton earlier this weekend for a while. I said, you know, this season overall has been pretty disappointing for me. I feel like it hasn't gone as well as I would have liked. He said, I think I made a handful of mistakes that have really cost us, and he said, I learned quickly you really can't be lacking in any area of this truck series with how competitive all the other competitors are. But as we've talked about, they are focusing solely on the race win. They know that is what they have to do in order to get a chance at making the playoffs, is getting that win and securing their spot. And that is the game plan. That is the agenda for this 25 team today. He's running second now, Vince.
Well, they've had the last month or so. We mentioned the last 4 races, average finish 22nd, but they are delivering a strong performance today, currently running about a half a second behind Kyle Busch, who's trying to fend off Eric Jones for second.
I love the pace of the 25 truck. I mean, he's able to hold off Jones. It looks like pulling in on Busch a little bit right there.
Yeah, that last lap, he was within a half a tenth of a second of Kyle's lap time, and they're running some really fast lap times, as fast as they have the entire race right now.
got a handful of top 10 finishes this season, but this is by far, I think, the most impressive run for Dalton Sargent. You get up there between those two Cup stars, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, and keep pace with them. That's awesome. That's a day he'll never forget.
See, Eric Jones is moving in on the 25. Is he going to duck out and try to get by him as he gets down to turn number 1? No, he's going to follow him in the corner.
You can see Jones goes high, maybe taking a bit of a different line. Maybe perhaps really got an aerodynamic push behind the 25 truck. The truck won't turn in the corners because there's no downforce on the nose.
Stage 2 winner Stuart Friesen in that 52, chasing points leader Johnny Sauter.
The battle for the 5th position.
You talked about Sauter struggling earlier, not being able to make so many moves up toward the front. Well, now he's got that Joe Shearer, those guys got 21 tuned up. That ISM Connect truck is right there in the battle for the win.
And good strategy. One of the guys that came in just before the end of the second stage to get track position.
Have to make something happen. They really haven't had the speed that we've seen from those KBM trucks as we hit our Camping World 20 to go. Sauter running 5th.
Conversely, we talked about Sauter making progress. It looks like Matt Crafton in the beginning of fade a bit. He was up in the top 5. Now he's dropped back to 8. And not a lot of speed for the 88 today.
Very odd, you know, Junior Joyner, the crew chief for Crafton, said that they just have never been able to find the sweet spot here at Pocono with that Neon 88. They've had some decent finishes, but Hermie, they just haven't been able to deliver a good truck, and it seems like they're struggling with that again today.
They are, Vince, and I can tell a little bit by talking to Junior Joyner as we see Eric Jones going to P2, but Junior Joyner on the 88 is starting to feel a little bit of, you know, frustration. He said his truck's just been loose all weekend and cannot get back in the track weekend and hustle it, and that's not going to be good for him. You know, 19 more laps to go.
Well, you can see it, Hermie. He's fading back now. Todd Gilliland has begun to heat him up. Look at those numbers, Phil.
Yeah, they're very un-Matt Crafton-like.
And there's not an adjustment, I don't think, that lays ahead for him. I mean, possibly some strategy if caution were to fly, but I think he's going to have to ride out what he's got.
I think so many trucks on the lead lap, I don't think it'll do you any good to come to pit road, even fresh tires. The guys told me the fresh tires really weren't worth that much. They'll not overcome the bad track position.
Back-to-back top 5s for Crafton, but it doesn't look like he's going to have one of those kind of afternoons today, currently riding an 8. Kyle Busch leads at Pocono.
Being a kid is all about freedom. The freedom to play. Freedom of new experiences. And the freedom for all kids under 12 to get into any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race for free. It's good to be a kid.
Bring your kid under 12 to any NASCAR Xfinity Series or NASCAR Camping World Truck Series race and make it in free. Visit NASCAR.com/kidsticks to learn more.
Introducing the new 2018 Ford F-150. Best-in-class towing, best-in-class payload, and best-in-class torque. The F-150 lineup has the capability to get big things to big places big time. And things just got bigger. F-150 is now Motorsports 2018 Truck of the Year. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar.
As people who love the outdoors, we know what we stand for. We stand for fish, wildlife, and conserving the places they call home. We stand for the traditions we inherited and that we must pass on. We stand for great gear, fair prices, expert service, and memorable experiences. At Bass Pro Shops in Cabela's, we stand together for you.
What goes around comes around. As a sport that races in laps, we know that a clean race pays off in the finish. That's why NASCAR commits to green programs and biofuel, like Sunoco Green E15, so we can offset our carbon emissions. We're not going to stop making a difference, and neither should you. Learn how you can help by visiting NASCAR.com/green today.
Major League Baseball today on FS1. There are rivalries,
And there are rivalries when it's the Cubs and the Cardinals. Time heals no wounds. It's 126 years of circle games. Now, a new chapter awaits. Cubs, Cardinals, today at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on FS1.
Johnny Sauter and Stuart Friesen have found themselves running around one another a lot this season, and they are doing it again today here at Pocono, but it's for fifth, and fortunately for them, it's not for the lead. These two have it locked down. That's Kyle Busch in the front, and Eric Jones running second.
We've been watching the scoring monitor events, and we've noted, Michael and I, that Eric Jones has been the faster of the two trucks, at least the last 3 laps, Mike?
Yeah, I think he's gained about a half a second the last 3 laps. He only trails about 1.8, so we're definitely going to have a battle for the lead between these two.
Eric Jones running his first truck race since the middle of the 2016 season, subbing for an ill Noah Gragson today. Meanwhile, the 51 of Kyle Busch. Caitlin, is there, by chance, any issue at all for that 51, or is he on cruise control?
I think he might be on cruise control. Not a lot of feedback currently over the radio for him, but we talked about what the win would mean for Kyle Busch, but let's talk about what it would mean for the crew chiefs area. You see him on the left-hand side, Mike Hillman Jr. He joked with me earlier, I don't want to jinx it, I've had 21 career victories in the truck series, and my 3 children have never been at a race I have won and have been able to experience victory lane with me. All 3 of my kids are here today, he says, so I would love to be able to get the win for them and have them experience that for the first time as well in my career.
That's a great story, and you know, every win means something different to a variety of people on the crew. I mean, regardless of whether you're the crew chief or the driver or the mechanics over the wall guy, I mean, you don't win that many times. It's special every time you get one.
Unless you're associated with Kyle Busch, who's going to win number 51.
Maya Snyder.
He's got a nice strap on the back of Crafton dives in the corner a little further, see if he can rally on exit.
And I think for the 10th spot, Mike.
You can see him working some band switching. He's going there on and off.
I'm not sure. It didn't seem like it was a brake adjustment.
No, it wasn't, but there's some switching. But they're about aerodynamics being so important. See what happens here. Todd Gillen gets up on a loose Matt Crafton and slips to the inside. And that cost Matt Crafton. Talked about that long run straightaway. He suffered all the way down the run because of that contact.
Gilliland running 9th, and remember, while Crafton is on the bubble, it's Gilliland that needs the win if he's going to make the playoffs. Crafton could point his way in. Gilliland has to win to get in.
Running out of chances, too, Vince.
Michigan and Bristol, the only 2 remaining races in the regular season. Gilliland did win the K&N race at Bristol earlier this year, so it's a place that he certainly would feel comfortable at, albeit quite different in a truck.
I never liked to go into Bristol thinking I had to finish, let alone had to win. That place is tough, and with the playoff spot on the line, liable to see about anything when we get up to Tennessee.
Joe Nemechek tipped the cap to Papa Joe. He has done a heck of a job today running 4th. Johnny Sauter on his back bumper.
Johnny would love to put a little something in between himself and Stuart Friesen. We saw them battling just a couple laps to go. What a great run off the corner for Johnny Sauter.
Yeah, it looked like a tough exit for Nemechek, and Johnny was right on the spot to take advantage of it.
Johnny's able to clear Nemechek before they get to the corner and the lap truck of Norm Benning.
12 laps remaining.
Look at Sauter. He got trapped behind Benning. That's going to slow that duo down and open up the door for Friesen. Can he squeeze in there?
Well, you lose a little momentum, and somebody behind you is going to pounce in a moment.
They're just not nice, Vince. They just take advantage of you every time they can.
Spotter saying, watch the 8, watch the 8. And Friesen's thinking, that kid, the 8 stop. Oh, that's not the kid. That's the dad. That's the old man. What a run for him.
Justin Haley taking a peek behind the 52 of Friesen.
It's hard racing. They're not taking the easy way out, blocking, side tracking. You see it all here as the laps wind down in Pocono.
While they battle a little deeper in the field, That's 4th, 5th, and 6th, 7th.
Tightening up here, Vince.
Under a second at the front where Kyle Busch leads Eric Jones, but Jones is coming.
That's right there. He's starting to really pick up that draft on the long run straightaway. We want to pull out, and maybe he'll take a bit of a different run through the corner to try to get air on the nose of his truck.
Quarter of a second gain that time by Jones in the 18.
Well, that's when you just try to get it maybe a foot at a time, huh, Phil? If Jones goes in there and tries to overdrive that truck, he'll lose everything he's gained. So that's the young man just driving that truck right as hard as he can, but he doesn't want to overdo it and get wide and back off the gas and lose all that ground he's made up. How about your Kyle?
When you look in the mirror and say, this is one of my proteges in one of my trucks here, and he's chasing me down.
Plus, he never practiced it. He hopped in it about an hour before the race started and took advantage of the setup. And that whole team do such a great job. And the way that truck was set up certainly appeals to Eric Jones.
Heavy traffic too here, guys.
Lap traffic ahead of him. Jones, if you just joined us, Noah Gregson fell ill today, had not been feeling well, was unable to qualify the truck. Eric Jones called on at the last minute to get in, hadn't turned a single lap before this race in that 18 truck. It's his first truck race since the middle of the 2016 season, and now Jones alongside Kyle Busch for the lead. Into the tunnel turn.
Ooh, look at Kyle fight back on the outside.
Side by side. Eric Jones on the inside and Kyle Busch on the outside. Less than 10 to go.
Kyle got a little bit tight off the corner because of that lap traffic, and Jones was there to draw. But Kyle Busch holds him off. A great move through the tunnel. Wow.
Not expected to be the last challenge that Kyle Busch will have to fend off. Because it seems as though maybe Eric Jones has the faster Thunder.
Yeah, I think without a doubt right now he has the fastest truck.
Of course, it's a big day for Kyle Busch as well, trying to match that number on his truck, the 51. It would be his 51st career win in the Truck Series. That would tie the all-time record currently held by Ron Hornaday. And this is the last Truck Series start of the season for Kyle, so surely someday down the road, if it's not today, he will get it, but this is his last chance to get it this season.
Kyle Busch is a guy I would want behind the wheel if I had a fast truck behind me, and the guy got to try to figure out how to hold them off.
Well, that move through the tunnel where he came around the outside 3 wide with the lap truck, that shows you how determined Busch is to hold off Jones. What about these things they've driven away from the field? Haven't they got a comfortable margin to settle it among themselves? But I tell you, it'd be tough for Jones to make that move work.
Third place, by the way, Dalton Sargent 9 seconds behind. I mean, it is down to these two, Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, with 7 to go.
Kyle trying to break the traffic a little bit, Jones.
And there's the third place truck of Dalton Sargent. It's been a good run for Sargent today.
Great run for Dalton Sargent.
The rookie.
Yeah, he's got Johnny Sauter, Stuart Reason, and Justin Haley. Three of the fastest trucks all year long, all behind Sargent. Great job.
That Performance Plus Motor Oil Chevrolet has been good and it has been strong. Tip of the cap to Doug Randolph, the crew chief. Done a great job.
Lap traffic ahead. That's local Masters. We saw him stay out earlier, so his tires are worn. It'll be interesting to see where Kyle catches these lappers, and if that presents another opportunity for Jones to make a move.
Yeah, Jones caught on perfectly last time.
Eric Jones, Eric Jones, former series champion in 2015. He's won 7 times in the Truck Series. Got his first Cup win earlier this month at Daytona. What a memorable day that was for him. As Johnny Sauter sees Stuart Friesen move inside for 4th.
We talked about how much these guys have battled, and it hasn't always turned out well. Some contact between the two of them, but man, strong move there at their tunnel Friesen.
I thought maybe Johnny might try to cross him some on exit, but Stuart was able to get back to the throttle and squeeze out a little bit over Johnny.
5 laps left. Sargent there in the yellow truck leading that long line of trucks that are in a draft trying to gain ground on Sargent. What a confidence builder it is for Dalton Sargent, just 20 years old from Boca Raton, Florida. He might be 10 seconds behind Bush and Jones, but this is a big day for this young man in his career.
We mentioned he had good speed at Chicago, didn't get a good finish. As we see a three-wide battle for the fifth spot.
Infinger trying to grab some extra points.
We can't do this three-wide through the tunnel, can we?
No way. What about the guy in the middle saying, I'm not letting off? That's the toughest place to be, but they did it. 3 wide through the tunnel. Wow. Haley out of it a little bit, and Sauter finally got to close the door on him. I can't believe they made it through without bringing out a caution. And that's certainly something Bush and Jones don't want to see right now. They don't want a caution.
No, they want to settle amongst themselves.
They sorted that out somehow.
There's Stuart Grace in a blue truck. He's got a 4th spot right now.
He's driven away from that mess. You can see why he's 3 wide. They're going to lose a lot of ground. I think that helped reason. Focus on the truck ahead of him. You can see up there that was Sargent. That's a good day for Friesen as well in the points category. He came into this race 7th in the point standings, just behind Grant Infinger and in front of Matt Crafton. And Friesen is ahead of both of them. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch has opened it up now by just over a second over Eric Jones with 3 laps remaining. That lap truck's not going to help Jones either, I don't think. That's actually one of them.
Kyle gained a half a second in the last 3 laps on Eric Jones.
There you can see what I talked about the momentum loss there. Because of timing, how he got that big run earlier, and timing has cost him here the last couple of laps. What Kyle Busch has done in the Truck Series is amazing. I know he's a Cup star, he's a Cup champion, but he has won almost 35% of every truck race he's entered. I mean, that's just staggering.
It is unbelievable, really, what he's done in this series, as well as the Xfinity Series. And, I mean, 190 combined wins across the 3 major series in NASCAR. 190.
2 laps left for Kyle Busch. Meanwhile, Justin Haley trying to get past Johnny Sauter for 5th. He's going to do it. And does. Teammates there at GMS and Grant Infinger coming to get into it as well. You know, we talked about what a great day it is for Kyle Busch and Kyle Busch Motorsports. It's got to be a little bit disappointing for Todd Gilliland, seeing those 2 team trucks up there running 1-2, and he desperately needs a win to make the playoff, and he finds himself back in 8th position.
We talked about it when we replayed it. That little bobble in turn number 1, when there was some heavy traffic, cost him all the momentum, and he's not been able to overcome it.
And that is Gilliland right there behind the red and white 21 of Sauter. Gilliland in the 4 truck. Kyle Busch out front, taking the white flag. 2.5 miles to go for Kyle. Eric Jones might be shaking his head a bit. Where'd he go? I ran him down earlier, passed him, I ran him down and nearly passed him again. And Kyle put it into overdrive. Well, that was a great side-by-side battle for Kyle Busch and Eric Jones, and it was the one opportunity it seemed that Jones had to pass Kyle, and just couldn't quite finish him off. And Kyle has since stretched it out and is on his way. He's jetting off.
I'd say that was a little bit more of a battle than Kyle Busch wanted.
It is a storied career. Cup champion, a threat to win every time out, regardless of what series it is. And today, Kyle Busch wins his 51st in the Truck Series, tying the all-time mark of Ron Hornaday. Kyle Busch wins at Pocono. Another great victory. Vince Hillman got that win for his kids. Yeah, that's got to be a special feeling for that man right there, having his children with him as he engineered that trip to victory lane. One of the best truck drivers ever.
I guess you can say defense forever. Some great stories though up in the top 10. Eric Jones obviously jumps in that truck at the last minute, not one lap practice. Starts on the back and drives a second. Dalton starts with a career day to me and finishing third here.
Stuart Greasy just shows that he's going to be championship worthy. He's going to have a chance to win this day. He races well on the short tracks. He races well on the big tracks from the back to top 5 here.
It's fitting that Kyle will be in the 51 truck today. He's also driven the 4 truck earlier this season. But today, driving the 51 and getting career win number 51 in the Truck Series. And Ty Hornaday, who is another great Hall of Famer for sure. And is a Hall of Famer.
That's definitely the best ever. Yeah, look at the number of starts it took to get those 51 wins and 145. Over 35% of the time he makes events, he's gone to victory lane when he started at a race.
And I know there will be some that say, oh, he's a young champ, he's cherry picking down in the Truck Series, but say what you will, and the amount of runs that he has, and winning as often as he does, I don't care what series you're from and what the situation is, it's just the limited amount of runs he has. Super impressive.
I remember it was in Atlanta that he was leading the race really down out in race in Atlanta. When the wheel came off, he probably would have won that too.
They build their own chassis.
And that's a brand new one right there. That year rubber he's thrown all over the racetrack there. That's an impressive victory and an impressive burnout now.
And Kyle takes great pride in not just the fact that he wins as a driver, but that he wins as a team owner and as an organization. Kyle Busch Motorsports has established itself as the premier organization in the Truck Series, and he takes great pride in that, as he should. Well, the winning crew chief is Mike Hillman Jr.
Yeah, Vince, and he's got his family here with him this weekend for the first time. Gets to experience a victory with him. How rewarding is this one for you, Mike?
It's just awesome to see how hard everybody at KBM works. Rowdy manufacturing and everything we got going on. Everybody on the Beechcraft Tundra has done a heck of a job all week. You know, when Kyle's in the truck, this is what it's expected. You know, we just had to execute all day, and he did a great job holding off Eric again. Just super excited to go to victory lane with all these guys. They work really, really hard.
Nicely done. Enjoy it. That's Mike Hillman Jr.'s 26th career Truck Series win. It's a great show, guys.
Well, and it's also big and stuff that Michael didn't want to call it a drought, but it's 7 races without a win. It had been the longest in about 3 years for KBM in the Truck Series, but they got that win here today to win that streak. And back in victory lane for Kyle Busch Motorsports.
How about that burning rubber?
He was on fire. Eric Jones finished second. He's with her.
Well, Vince, we got Eric. I know this probably wasn't how you were expecting to spend your Saturday afternoon, but anytime you get a chance to get in and race something like this, I know you got to enjoy that opportunity.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, you know, it's not just getting out and running a race, but it's getting to run a race in a really good truck. And it's been a while since I've been in a truck. It's about 2 or 3 years, but had fun. I mean, the 6-light Tundra, it was probably fast enough to win. I just needed to get back out front and couldn't quite do it. You know, starting third on that restart. Had to get around 80 in the 25. I thought we were going to clear him right here, but just not quite enough. But a fun race. I mean, thanks to the KBM guys for giving me a really good truck. I had a blast, and you know, hopefully get to do it again sometime.
You've been a pretty big part of Kyle Busch Motorsports through the years now, of course, the Joe Racing. Kyle, win number 51 in all the races that organization has won. What did this race for this organization as you were coming up the ladder? What did it mean to you?
Special. I mean, you know, it's awesome to see what it's turned into. You know, when I was first starting out there, we were still a fairly young company, and you know, they hadn't even won a race without a cup driver in the car. So I was me and Bo Wallace, the first 2 guys to get some wins in these trucks outside of cup guys. So it's been fun to be a part of it, and now to see it continue to grow with young drivers coming up through with Noah, Todd, and all these guys that get to run these trucks. It's fun to see them go on battle out.
Eric Jones comes out of that little bit today. He finishes second.
And one of the 10 drivers that have won for Kyle Busch Motorsports, 68 wins for this organization. And Caitlin is in victory lane with Kyle Busch.
And it is already a celebration here for Kyle Busch. And that's a 51st career win for him. All smiles on his face, the crew's face. Kyle, after everything you put in for this truck series, both as a team owner, as a driver, how special is this win for you tying this record?
It's awesome. I can't say anything about everybody at Kyle Busch Motorsports and everybody that's gotten these win totals to where they're at. You know, with racing with Billy Blue and racing KBM stuff. And back in the heyday, with I think I won a race with Morgan Wallen when I ran those guys. You know, it's certainly just a true testament to all the hard work of everybody, all the dedication and perseverance everybody has at Kyle Busch Motorsports to give me such a fast Cessna Beechcraft 100 here. You know, the guys at TRD are doing an awesome job for us. Thanks to Toyota, Incredible Bank, Black Clover, DBX Eyewear, Rowdy Manufacturing. It's a lot of hard work and a lot of great people, and wouldn't be here without them.
Now, we saw Eric Jones filling in for Noah Gragson there in the 18 truck, kind of battling with you. What was that like there?
Yeah, they had a better truck than us here this weekend. They leaned in. I tried. We tried to fix this thing, working on it, make it better, but I probably made it slower and things that I changed on it rather than making it faster. But Rudy and those guys are amazing. They do such a great job. And I knew Eric was going to be fast in that truck, and I knew Noah was going to be fast in that truck. They were the ones that we had to beat, you know. So, wish we were a bit faster, but obviously being that little bit slower, we put on a better show. Eric was able to run me down and get there, and I did everything I could to hold him up. I knew if I could pinch him for a few laps after he had that time to cool his tires getting to me, that I could get his tires back up, and then I might be able to equal out to him. And that kind of seemed to be where we fell even with each other there. So, you know, a little bit of strategy play there, and just experience, I guess, being a little bit out front and able to get through traffic there on that restart to get ourselves that advantage.
Well done. Enjoy this one. Kyle Busch, the winner here at Pocono now.
A special day for Kyle and the entire Kyle Busch Motorsports organization. Win number 51. Time on today in the all-time record.